your center of reference. I've entitled today's broadcast, What's at the Center of Your Life? The choice that defines everything. Have you ever wondered who or what is truly at the center of your life? Every choice we make reflects our center of reference, the source from which we derive meaning, purpose, and direction. This question is as old as humanity itself, beginning in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. Today, we'll explore the profound choice they faced and how it continues to define yours and my life. Together, we will uncover the truth about our dependency on either God or a counterfeit source and examine how this choice shapes the way we live. The choice Adam faced in the Garden of Eden is the same one that we encounter today. Adam was created to derive everything from God, with the opportunity to make him, God, his center of reference and source of life. This choice was symbolized by the tree of life, placed at the center of the garden as a clear reminder. God, who is self-existent, that means existing entirely from himself, desired for humanity to also find their center and source in him. To understand this better, think about an anchor on a ship. Without a strong anchor, the ship drifts aimlessly, pushed and pulled by the waves. In the same way, if God isn't the anchor of our lives, we're left vulnerable to the storms of life, swayed by circumstances or fleeting desires. Have you ever felt like your life was drifting? Well, that's a sign your anchor might not be secure in Christ. The serpent, however, tempted Adam and Eve with a different idea. You can be like God. Genesis 3:5. In other words, they were told that they could be their own center of reference by eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This temptation was like being offered counterfeit money. It looked appealing and promised value, but it was a lie. Satan's counterfeit was the illusion that Adam and Eve could be independent of God. Counterfeits might work for a time, but they eventually fail because they lack real worth and value. What counterfeit sources, things that look good but are empty, might you be relying on in your life? That's an important consideration to ask oneself. Was Satan's promise true? Not entirely. A half-truth is still a lie. While God later acknowledged man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 22, this knowledge didn't make humans truly independent. And that's because as created beings, we are always spiritually dependent, either on God or something else, and particularly someone else, i.e. Satan. And this reality underscores the truth that we all are derivative creatures. Think of it this way. Your life is like a smartphone. Unfortunately, everybody's familiar with those nowadays. So it's a great analogy. And no matter how advanced or capable the phone is, it's useless if the battery is dead. The same is true for us as Christians. Without staying connected to Christ, the source of life, we can run out of strength and purpose. Are you trying to function on a drained spiritual battery? Or are you relying on God to keep you charged? The good news is that God's battery never goes dead. It's just we get diverted from deriving from it. Today, as those in union with Christ, we stand in the garden of life, faced with the same choice. Will our center of reference be ourselves, which is a delusion, or Christ? Will we live deriving from Christ as our source, fully dependent upon Him, or will we cling to the lie of self-sufficiency, attempting to live as though we were independent? And unfortunately, many are doing so today. It's like relying on a faulty GPS. You think you're heading in the right direction, but it takes you off course. I've had that happen a time or two. When we make ourselves the center of reference, we lose our way. Christ is the only reliable guide for our lives. Have you ever experienced the frustration of trusting in your own judgment, only to realize it led you astray? What would happen if you let Christ redirect your life? In the garden, the tree of life stood at the center as the true source of life, while the tree of the knowledge of good and evil stood off center, close to the center, yet distinctly outside of it. This tree symbolizes Satan's counterfeit, a false imitation of God's truth that ultimately negates all that God is. It offers what seems appealing, but ultimately leads to destruction. This contrast serves as a vivid reminder that even now, the choice of derivation remains before us. Who or what will be our point of reference, our center, ultimately our God? In conclusion, who is your center of reference? The choice is as clear today as it was for Adam and Eve. Will you derive life from the tree of life, Christ Himself, or from the deceptive alternatives that promise independence but lead to spiritual emptiness? True life is found in letting Christ live in and through you. Just as Paul confessed, it is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. Galatians 2:20. The world may tempt us with counterfeit solutions, but only God offers the peace, purpose, and identity we were created to experience. Take a moment to reflect on your life. What drives your decisions, your values, your sense of purpose? If your center has been anything other than Christ, it's not too late to allow Him to realign your life with His purposes. Let this be the day you choose Him as your source, your center, and your God. May I leave you with this final reflection. Life is not about trying harder or achieving more. It is about deriving everything from Christ, who is your life. As deriving beings, we were designed to depend on Him completely. When we choose Christ as our center, we find peace, clarity, and purpose in every area of life. May I call you to action today? If this message has spoke to you, share your thoughts in the comments below with me. What or who has been your center of reference? I'd love to hear your story. And share this broadcast with someone who needs encouragement to put Christ at the center, or rather, allow Christ to be their center. Subscribe to Life as God Intended for more Christ-centered insights. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, life isn't about becoming self-sufficient or even like Christ. It's about allowing Christ to live in and through you. Until next time, may you continue to live as God intended.